All right, well, welcome back to High Tales with the Lid Sisters.
Yes, we had to do a quick realignment of everything because there's so much to talk about with this book.
I don't really know what I was thinking we could do all of that in one episode. 200 pages in Fourth Wing, too much happens. I was coming off of Silver Flames. That's what it is. We could easily do 200 pages.
Yeah, because 200 pages was Nesta going, well.
There's not a lot of whining in Fourth Wing.
No.
Writer's Quadrant. Ship up or shape out. Shape up. Shape up or shape out.
Exactly what she said.
All right, so where we left off, Nolan, fucking Nolan. Nolan, I thought, was on the right side of history. He is not. I'm just so pissed right now. He helped capture Violet. Right, yes. So they've stolen the journals. One journal, Warwick's journal, is on its way to Brennan. Lyra's journal, and Naolan drugged her. She wakes up in the interrogation room, and she hears guards' voices, nervous about her mom finding out that they have her.
General Sorrengail is gonna be pissed.
Right, but she also finds out her mom is in another outpost. I forget which one, for a week.
Yeah.
So she's trying to kind of figure out what day it is throughout this entire process. But right when she's there, Nolan and Varish are there, and they're asking, why did she steal the journal? Nora's also there, the truth teller.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows to, be specific about the way she lies about things. She can't lie about things. She has to tell truths, half-truths, in order to make sure
Which she gets
okay.
very good at it. I was surprised with the back and forth, and I'm like, ooh, she didn't lie, but
she's really, really good at it. We also find out that Eric was right, that when he put his hands in, it kind of sounded a lot. I heard someone else call it Eric earlier. Arik. Arik sounds more
royal.
Yes. Arik was
right.
No
offense to any Erics out there.
It's just not the most royal name.
Prince Eric. Boyfriend Eric. Prince Eric is a real thing. That's the Little Mermaids.
A real thing.
The Little Mermaid's a real thing. Let's not get into this again.
All of this is real. Dragons are coming to save us. Duh. So Markham had sounded the alarm, and then Nolan saw her outside with the scribe pack.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what kind of
facilitated. Yeah.
Yes. And they're like, it's fine, Violet. We only want to know a couple of things.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you do it? And who'd you do it with?
All the things that she would never give him.
Basically all of it.
Well, can we pause also on Nolan? Because it wasn't as bad as the alarm was sounded and we think it's Violet. It literally was, he turned her in. He drugged her and turned her in.
He drugged her, yeah.
Varish didn't say, go find Violet.
Yeah.
Nolan just saw her walking with the white satchel and was like, I'm just going to give her this drug.
But then Varish was there. So it's almost like he's like, look at Violet. She's got a scribe thing. That doesn't seem right. Which, again, when they pointed that out to her, she goes, that's also what you used to transfer books from the library. That one was good. She also was like, how could I have stole it? I'm not royal.
Yeah.
That's a reach of a royal
Are you guys sure? Why, did you go in and check to see if anything was missing?
Oh, they can't.
No. And they can't tell the king that, oops, we might have lost some books. Can you come check? And they don't know Arik is the son.
No, nobody knows.
Nobody does.
Nobody knows. Well, Jesinia now knows because
it's only the people that grew up with him and can
tell. And Jesinia said, remember, she's like, if you're looking for it, you can tell. His eyes give it away, but otherwise
no.
Yeah.
Which it's still crazy that the king doesn't know his son is missing.
Right. Well, and it also
it's been 8 months.
Well, he thinks he's tying it off. He thinks he's gallivanting all through the continent.
Can't give your dad a FaceTime?
I mean, in all of the royal type shows I've watched, they don't really care what their kids are, especially his third-born son.
Yeah, they've got...
You're a little fuckboy. They get to go off and do whatever they want.
He would have a security team, so that means that security team...
Oh, he mentioned that earlier. He said, no, they're not going to say anything because they're embarrassed that...
They lost me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we just have to wait until after threshing.
Yeah, and now he's got a dragon, so he's good.
So Daddy can't do anything.
He also has a blue dragon.
Oh.
Seagal, blue.
So this might be like a war of the dragons.
Well,
this makes me want to do a deep dive into the different types of dragons even more.
Agreed. Technically, Xaden is royal.
Oh, yeah.
Arik is royal. So maybe blue also has
they look good for royal people.
Mm-hmm. So when she says, I couldn't cross the royal ward, Varish automatically is like, call formation, check every cadet's hands. She knew that it was morning based on something that one of the guards said. And if you remember, Bodhi was like, that burn is a whatever burn, as long as it's medicated, it'll heal overnight. So right away, I wasn't nervous. I'm like, Arik's hands are already healed. They're going to be good. She's also
good
realizing.
Thing they switched up the plan.
Right. She's also realizing they have no idea who I worked with. They have no idea to check if both journals are gone. They know nothing. They know absolutely nothing, which should make the future torture that she's going to encounter easier, I guess. But she passes out as Varish is like dislocating and then breaking her finger. So what's funny, Rebecca Yarros fades to black with torture, but not with sex. Thank you. We actually appreciate it.
If I have to fade to black to one, it would definitely be the torture.
It would definitely be torture. Yeah. She comes to after the first, I think she says it happened twice, right? So she's been tortured and mended, and she comes to and sees Liam. Oh,
Liam's
my
there.
Favorite character.
I.e., she's definitely hallucinating.
Well, she tells herself, I'm hallucinating from the pain, from the dehydration, and Liam's like, or you just, Malik's giving you some grace, and she's like, Malik doesn't do that. That's not happening. And then Violet's thinking about how Xaden's not even going to know for 5 days, and no one can notify him because he's going to lose his shit. And Liam's like, you don't think Tarn is freaking the fuck out? Seagull has felt it. He knows. He knows. And he's going to rip this place apart brick by brick.
You just have to hold in there.
Right. Just
at
stay
minimum
alive.
5 days, if you're right. But he knows.
I think at this point we know it's been a couple of days, too.
Well, and when I was reading this, I was like, fuck yeah, he's totally going to, when Liam was like, brick by brick, he will tear this place to the ground. And I'm like, he totally will.
But not only that, her friends, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I'm like, something big is going on. I would actually rather know what's going on out there than hear
I was kind of in my brain thinking, Sawyer, Riddick, Rhee, I know you want to save her right now, but please don't.
Because you just knew they weren't going to be able to.
I just knew that Xaden was coming, and if he's coming, he's cover blown. He doesn't give a shit. He's saving her, and everybody's going down with him. And I'm like, you guys, if you win, great, but now we don't have access to any of Biscayath. If you lose, then you're sitting right next to her. Right. Just let the adults handle it.
They're not right now. So as far as we know, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Varish comes back and is asking her, he's doing his thing where he builds upon the stuff he already knows, slowly revealing that he's totally onto her and on the right track. So he wants to know why she wanted the journal. And he's like, I know it has something to do with the wards. Yeah. And she's like, he's getting too close. He also then alludes to Griffin's not killing Liam.
Yeah, we both know that's not the truth.
Oh, yeah. He's reading her. He's like, there's no reports of you seeking a healer. Where'd you go? What do you want to ward? And she's getting too close.
He's just catching in all the little lies. This is a police interrogation.
Yeah.
And he's caught her in so many lies.
But he's playing with her. It's not that he's catching her in lies even. He's playing with her. He knows what's happening or what's going on next, and he's building on it for her.
He is a very good torturer. Yes. Mental and physical.
Well, this is when he reveals what his signet actually is. And we were wondering that before, because he's Dain's teacher. So what does he have? What has he got going on? He can see people's weaknesses, which is a very good signet. Obviously he's good at torture. So he admits that when he first met her, he didn't see anything.
She wasn't afraid of it. She didn't have a weakness.
No, she was shielding. She has weaknesses.
She's the best
shielder in her class.
Badass. That she doesn't have any weaknesses.
No, that's not what it was.
She's 4 in, what's it called? No. He only had 4 fears.
No, it's not. You guys, Marissa's full of shit. That's not what it was.
No, she's just really good at shields.
No, she was good at her shields, but they fell. And now that she has no power, she can't shield. And he sees that her weakness is the people that she loves. So he goes on his little villain monologue about how he's waited all year for her to break a rule so he could properly interrogate her. And now Xaden's going to break codex by coming here, and he will give him the answers he needs, because he's going to put Xaden right next to her and torture the shit out of him right in front of her so that she'll have everything she needs. The whole time, Liam's pep talking her very well too. He's like, He's full of shit.
Yep. Don't listen.
That's not going to happen. Hold the line. Don't fall for this shit.
Yeah.
Don't fall for the bait.
And in a very Liam personality way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love that Liam got to come back.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Varys keeps pushing her about Xaden. And Violet, oh, God, I love this response. She just sits there as he's, like, torturing her, right? And she goes, does Solus like hiding?
This is so good.
What? Because Tarn certainly knows that something is going on. Like, Xaden might not know, my friends might not, people might not know, but Tarn knows. And you know Tarn is hunting Solus down.
Yeah.
So while I might die in this room, you will.
Like, it's
die
guaranteed.
In this room. Yep.
Like, either Xaden's going to come, like you said, and you die, or Tarn's going to get to your dragon and you die.
I hope that if I am ever in a situation like where I'm being tortured, that I would have enough strength to taunt the torturer.
When you get mad, you just pick.
I dig in. I'm like, do your worst.
And I would be like, I'm so sorry. Just
you would have given it all up already.
No, I don't think I would give it up.
Yeah.
But I would definitely just lean into dying.
You would just, you'd probably be quietly tortured to death. You'd be just like.
Yeah, I would be quiet. They would take it too far. And I'd just say, where is that light?
I'm like, do your worst. Take it.
He does. The more they do it, you would get angrier and angrier.
I would antagonize more probably.
Yeah.
So Varys, they say, tortures her at least 3 more times where she's tortured and healed.
Which Nolan, again, you see how bad it is. And she is noting during this, like,
Nolan.
he's only, like, fixing parts of it because you can tell he's weak for some reason.
Right.
But, like, okay, it's broken bones, but even the broken bones aren't mended all the way. And so all the blood, the cuts, the bruises are still there.
Like, they break in the same spot again. So you can tell they're not fully mended. Yeah. They're not at full power. He's not at full power. 3 more times this happens until she hears Dain's voice.
Dain.
Varys is out there totally manipulating, gaslighting the shit out of him. Tells Dain about a breach in security. Paints Violet as the new Fen Ryerson. Yeah. Basically.
So he's outside the door and doesn't know who's in here. And he's like, I want you to be ready for what you're about to see.
Right. Violet tries to counter Varys right away. Because Varys is like, she wants to bring down the wards. And she's like, Dain, you know that's not true.
Yeah.
You know I would never hurt civilians.
I would never do that.
Dain's like, I don't know shit about you anymore.
Damn it.
This is when it's like the cold shoulder and being such a dick to Dain might not have been in your best interest up until now.
Whoops.
And refusing to talk to him about anything. She tells him, though, that there is a war out there and Pomerish civilians are dying. Pomerish? Our enemy's civilians are dying. So Varys is like, don't be mad. Xaden pulled her into something. She didn't know. She didn't know anything about it.
But Dain, like, realizes that this is why she wouldn't let him touch her. It's because she's into something with Xaden. And this is why. And he's like, this is why you stayed so far.
You're protecting him.
Yeah, you're protecting him, which you would think would give him some empathy. But really, it just made his jealous mind go crazy. Like, you want him, not me?
No, I don't know if I was reading that.
I was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the tone of the Audible reader. So Nora comes in and is like, okay, General Sorengale ordered everybody to X, Y, and Z. There's incidents at the border. All leadership has to go.
Yeah.
And so Varys is supposed to be going. And Varys is like, oh, not too soon. So it's like, dang it. My mom is so close.
Varys leaks right now. It's probably Xaden. He deserted days ago. So Violet finds out that Xaden already deserted and is coming for her. And Liam's like, see, I told you. I told you.
Just stay in there. But if Dain's there, it doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
and so she's like, even though I've held off this whole time, it's all gone when Dain touches my face.
Right. But Liam's like, the whole time he's like, I don't think you're going to get out of this. And she's like, I don't either. And he's like, in all honesty, if you he's going to have to sift through your recent memories first.
So give him what you want. And so she actually, like, she's like, okay, Dain does it, touches her face. She actually, like, instead of like gets away from it, she like grabs onto what she says is his presence.
Right.
And she takes him through Ressin. So she takes him through Solel dying, Fuel dying, like Liam, holding Liam while he was dying.
The blue fire of the Wyverns, the Wyverns, the Venom. The Wyverns, the Venom, all of it.
Yeah. And then she actually goes and then she just pushes the last 4 days of torture and all the pain, which I'm like, that's so smart, because if he can see the recent memories, he's seen 4 days of torture and feeling the pain. He's my best friend. He knows. And she looks at him and he says, really? You stole weapons to give to our enemy. Out of all of that, all he grabbed onto was that first interaction with the Griffins and them giving the knives over. And she's like, are you effing killing me? You're not even, you don't care about like the monsters that we've been lied about. You care about me giving weapons to people to help kill them. Right. So she's like, it's like a devastating blow. And Dain looks over at Varys and is like, where's the knife that got confiscated that you told me about? I want to make sure that it's the same one in my memory of what got stolen. Like, that's proof. And so Varys comes over, brings the bejeweled like knife over, and Dain looks at it and like puts it up to her neck and is like, this would have been different if you would have just talked to me. You should have trusted me. Varys is like, yes, my pretty, like in the background, like just like being like, yes, we got her. And Dain actually turns around and shoves the knife in Varys and then cuts Violet free.
Well, and so right away, he's like, I don't know if we can fight our way out of here.
Yeah. And she's like, we won't have to, because boom, who comes through the doorway?
Well, no, he holds his sword to Nora's neck and he's like, you let us by and I won't kill you.
And then boom, who comes through the doorway?
Xaden says, I don't make the same promises, and he slices Nora's throat.
And Nora's gone.
Nora is gone. Right away, she sees Xaden's like fury in his eyes, and Violet jumps in front of Dain and is like, no, he saved me.
No,
he saved me.
He's a good guy now.
Don't worry about it. And she's
I just put 4 days of torture in his brain. He's traumatized.
I will say, though, I kind of saw Dain taking her side, like coming. Because Varys, the whole time, Dain was like, give me the knife. Let me see if it's the same. And he's like berating Violet a little bit, laying into her about the weapons. Varys is like, what'd you see? What was it? Da-da-da. And he won't answer Varys' questions. He's like pretending like he's so pissed and weak in it. I was like, he's setting up a scene.
So this is a reference that we are not supposed to talk about. But for any of the Akatar people out there, this is how I felt when Jurian said, we were friends centuries ago. And you really think I would betray humans? And she's like, I just thought you went crazy, man. Sorry. Like, that's how I felt internally. Like, I was like, oh, I guess I was kind of hard on Dain.
I mean, I was really hard on Jurian. I was like, yeah, fuck that guy. Da-da-da. He's crazy. And then when he said all that, I'm like, oh yeah. I shouldn't just assume 500 years made you crazy. I should have actually said hi to you first. It was only 50 years.
Okay, sorry. We had to take an Akatar break because that's how I felt, where I was like, I was hard on Dain, but also, so I went from hating Dain to being like, oh, Dain, you're such a child. You're just immature. You just don't have information, and you're like a jealous little kid right now.
I already kind of felt that way about him before.
Yeah.
And that's why when this was happening, I'm like, no, he's not going to kill her. He's not going to pick
When he
this
came
side.
in the door during this torture session and was like,
when he latched on,
I don't even know you anymore.
Kind of like, no, he's got a plan. He's got a plan.
Okay.
Anyways, Violet kind of turns to Xaden and is like, you came. And he's like, I told you there's nowhere in existence that you could go that I wouldn't find you. And they're like all cute.
Because I'd find you.
Garrett comes running up and is like, you went too fast. You took everyone out. You couldn't have left anybody. Which I thought was kind of funny.
I didn't get to kill anyone, man.
And then he tells them how it's absolute chaos up there. Leadership is launching all over the place to go all over the border. And Xaden's like, good, it worked. Varys is sitting on the floor and is like, Dain, your father's going to be so disappointed in you. And I loved how Dain was like, if he knows about any of the stuff Violet just showed me, I'm disappointed in him. Disappointed is a nice word, Dain. You should be more than just disappointed.
To me, I was like, that's hard. Yeah. Like the D word, he's disappointed in his dad. Like that hit hard. That hits hard.
Hits hard?
Being disappointed. I'd rather be hated than disappointed.
No. Fuck his dad. So Dane's going to like stab Varish, and Xaden's like, that's not your kill. Like, that's Violet's. If she wants it, she's like, she does. And she doesn't have enough strength to really actually stab him. So Xaden like kind of like leans on the knife with her, and she's like, she poignantly looked in his eyes and watched the life drain because she knew she was going to be traumatized
Well,
from
and she
this.
said, I told you you would die in here.
Yeah. Oh,
boom.
yeah. Well, it wasn't really boom. It was more like...
She legitimately twisted the knife.
Kind of. Leaned on it. So Violet is more concerned about the movement and Xaden and his needs than herself. And she was like, you can't take me. Brennan's not ready. They're going to know where he is. Everything's at risk. And he's like, I don't care. I have everything I need if I have you. And he does a very super sweet love monologue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't really repeat everything he says, but it's a really good one. And he's basically like, fuck all this shit. If you're not in my life, none of it matters anyway.
Yep.
We're going. And he tells the rest of the squad, track down the rest of the squad. And she's like, wait, what? And he's like, they tried to rescue you 2 days ago and they got caught.
I knew it.
They're fine. They're not being tortured, but they have been sequestered. So find them and track down an antidote. At that point, Garrick yells from the hallway, oh, we have a problem over here. They come around the corner and General Mom has a knife up to his throat.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at Xaden and she's like, who did you kill? He says, everyone. And then she drops the knife. Like, oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Glad she took care of it.
Yep. Thank goodness.
She drops her blade. She gives them an antidote, tries to give Violet an antidote, and said, I would have been here sooner had I known. She can kind of tell, I think, by the look in Violet's eyes that she doesn't buy it necessarily.
Yeah.
And they don't trust her. And she's like, I swear to God, I didn't know. I really didn't know. She said she wants a moment alone with her daughter. And Xaden's like, yeah, that ain't fucking happening.
No, not today,
And it
lady.
wasn't until Violet was like, give me a second with my mom. She also gets, as they're like leaving and kind of deciding this, she's like, I get reports that dragons are dropping wyvern all over the border. Is that you? And Xaden's like, yep. Regret letting me in the writer's quadrant yet? She's like, nope.
Well, and he's even like, yeah, I would have been here sooner, but it took me a while to hunt down these wyvern.
Yeah. I did also love that Violet's like, okay, give me 3 minutes. Xaden's like, fine. And he looks to Dain and he's like, have you decided to follow yet? And Dain's like, yes. And he's like, then fucking follow. Like, walk out. Like, I just see Dain like, oh, okay, here we go. All right.
Dang it. This guy that I've been jealous of now, like, runs the world.
I will say this whole interaction with General Mom.
Yep.
Dramatically changed my opinion of her.
Yes.
I don't think Violet was fully sold, but General Mom is like, when you have children, we can discuss the risks you'll take and the lies you'll be willing to tell in order to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm a mom. I definitely connected with that. I'm like, there's just a lot more that she doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Like, this is, again, book 2 of a 5-book series.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more that's going to be revealed. We think we know a lot right now. I could kind of tell we don't know shit.
Yeah.
So she says Markham saw her as his protege, as the only applicant smart enough, clever enough to keep this like hundreds of years long lie going.
Yeah.
And thinking of all the things you have to facilitate to make that true, that no one in Navarre actually knows.
Like, Violet can do it.
Violet can do it. And she's like, I know my daughter. You are way too smart. And you have way too good of a heart. You would have unwound it eventually. You would have, whatever, in the name of mercy, in the name of whatever, you would have been killed for it.
Yeah. And she's even like, you may not know me, little girl, but
yeah.
I know you.
I know you. And I think, again, as a mom, I kind of get it.
Yep.
She's like, I forced you in the writer's quadrant to save you.
Yeah.
Because you would have died as a scribe. Violet was like, I thought it was because you thought lesser of scribes. And she right away is like, bullshit. The love of my life was a scribe.
Yeah.
So everything, the coldness of her
yeah.
makes a little bit more sense. It's like, no, that's not every part of my life. Your father was the love of my life. And you said there's an audio part.
Yeah, there's a part in the audio where it's like one of the book excerpts. And it was recovered, like a letter that wasn't sent, recovered from General Sorengale to her husband.
And it was very
very like, I love you so much. As you know, I would do anything for our kids above duty, and like, you're the love of my life. Like, it was much more warm-hearted than you've ever heard her talk.
Yeah. She's like, putting you in the writer's quadrant gave you a shot at surviving, and then I called in the favor with Ryerson.
Yeah.
When I put the marked ones in the quadrant. And she's like, wait, what? I think she just assumed that Violet
Yeah.
knew. She's like, yeah, I called in a favor. He ensured that no one would kill you outside of challenges or your own, like, stupidity.
Until threshing, she said.
Until threshing. Get her to threshing. Because then she knew a dragon was going to
Yeah, because she's smart AF.
Well, and then she also was like, which is a miracle considering what Atos put you through. And she's like, I didn't know until after.
Yeah.
But I did know after. Again, very matter of fact.
Yeah.
Very, very general.
But also, okay, why wouldn't you go to your daughter and be like, are you okay? After you knew that she almost died at Resson.
No, I mean.
She still ignored her.
It's because she's not a flowery mom.
Okay,
when it comes down to it.
Don't you want to go make sure your daughter's
her
okay?
Kids. No. She didn't want, like, you have to be hard to survive.
Okay.
She's a general.
I'm not a general. That's probably
obviously
why I'm struggling here.
All right, so Xaden comes back after the 3 minutes are up, basically. No, Xaden comes back and he confirms. She looks at him and goes, so I would assume you're the one supplying the drifts. And he's like, yep. And she's like, so the war of the father becomes the war of the son. And that's when he asks, are you regret letting me in the quadrant? She's like, no, but stay alive or this will all be for nothing.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Don't F up now. You made your move.
She then had probably the most loving exchange with Violet where she kind of touched her face and she's like, I would tell you to do this, 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 and this, but you already know your father made sure you know everything. You're so much like him.
Yeah.
And at that moment, Violet's like, Brennan's like him too. Mira's like him too. And then she was like, Mom doesn't know Brennan's alive, and I don't feel bad at all right now for her not knowing.
See, I did feel bad. Because
I did too, because I think we related.
I was mad that Violet didn't know.
Well, I think we related to the mom side of it too.
Yeah.
Where they're still kids, right? When it comes down to it, and feel a little bit more of the betrayal without like the trust behind it. Xaden is like, all right, get the other marked ones. We're going to leave. And Violet stops him and tells them if Markham is still at Caldor or wherever her mom was, because General Mom dropped that information, and most of the leadership is now gone because of the wyvern you dropped all over the place, this is our only chance to tell everybody and let them decide and let them choose. Xaden's not too happy about it, but is like, okay, fine. They kind of turn to Dain and put him on the spot about it. And he's like, all right, well, I guess my last official thing as wing leader is going to be to call formation.
And so in formation, Dain is like trying to talk through it, let people know that there is something beyond that leadership, blah, blah, blah. And he just is not as charismatic as Xaden. And it looks like he's struggling a little bit. But during this whole conversation, so Violet's like with Terran, mind to mind. And the Empyrean, evidently, dragon leadership decided each dragon can decide for themselves. Mm-hmm. And she was like, okay, Terran, I need you, just like with Amber, I need you to put the memory of Resson in every dragon's mind. Like he did. And so all the dragons are getting it. And basically Xaden takes over for Dain because Dain's struggling getting people and just kind of stands up and is like, okay, guys, here's what it is.
Well, he does use the shadows to darken the entire room.
Yeah, so everybody quits going,
yeah,
and big rings.
Basically, like kindergarten. He turned the lights off.
Dain had lost the room. Xaden had to step in and take over.
Yeah.
And he did so with his power. Everybody shut up. And he's like, okay, here's the deal. If you haven't seen the picture, it doesn't matter. Your dragon has decided for you, so it doesn't matter. If you have seen the picture and the memory, then you know what's out there, and then this is your choice. Yeah. You can either come with us or stay here. But we're leaving. Yeah. You got an hour. Yep. And then meanwhile, the professors start realizing that a formation was called with no, adults around. And so they come running out, and Carr actually comes running out with his like flames lit, like ready to fight. And who was it that actually was it Bodhi that extinguished? Yeah. And so we find out that Bodhi's power is actually like counteracting powers. Which is a really cool power.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so then Devera stands up and is like, yes, anybody can leave who wants to, and some of us professors might want to also.
She's like, some of us have been waiting to join you.
Yeah.
And she confirms that she's the one who leaked the pamphlets, the news
Which
about
is awesome.
Zoila. Yeah, which we kind of thought.
Yes. Well, I thought she was just figuring out. I didn't know she was the facilitator of it.
No, I agree. Like that she was taking actions.
Yeah.
We kind of got a hint during that she at least was like put off by it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ree is coming, obviously, but has Jasinia and 2 other scribes.
Yep. Oops.
And so, you know how the dragons don't like to fly with people that aren't their riders? Tarn was like, oh no, just this once, I'm going to fly them there too. But I thought it was interesting that like 3 scribes came with them as well.
And so now she's like, oh shoot, we're flying to Ryerson House with like 100 dragons and people, and also 3 scribes, which historically have not been on the right side of history.
Oh yeah, I mean they're the ones that
created the
lie, yeah, and protecting it.
So they're in Orisha, and Violet is having these nightmares, and she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, I'm safe. I'm safe." Xaden's laying there right next to me, and he is looking very, very good. And they take in each other's essences, and we fade to black. We actually don't fade to black. There's a couple pages of not black stuff.
There's some good morning sex. There's some pretty good morning sex that ends with she's going to be staying in his room.
Yes.
From this point forward.
Yes.
Okay.
They see Arik in the hallway on the way to like meet with leadership. They were like telling Arik, it's really up to you whether we tell them who you are or not. That's your secret. And he's like, okay, good information. And then they continue on to the assembly where they really find that Bodhi, Garrick, and Imogen are getting kind of in trouble for all of the things.
It kind of looks like that. I mean, they're standing there and everyone's like questioning and pissed.
Yes, old Hook Nose.
Yeah.
Felix, and who else? What is her names for these people?
Battle Axe. She called her Battle Axe.
Meanwhile, Battle Axe actually says, I'm not sure why the general's daughter is here. And Brennan's like, the general's son's right here. You have a problem with that?
Yeah.
So it's pretty tense. So they're kind of talking through. Violet finds out that Dain and the scribes are in seclusion because they cannot be trusted. And there are just writers everywhere. And they're like, aren't you going to thank us for bringing you all these writers? And they're like, you brought us students. What are we going to do? We can't send these people off to battle. Like, they don't even know what their signets are. Well, they do, but you know what I mean.
Well, some don't. Some don't.
Yeah.
They have first years in there, too.
Yeah.
They accuse her at that point of, like, purposely doing this so Mel Green would see where they're at.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, come on, you assholes. Like,
she is the general's daughter.
Are you even asking any of the right questions? But Xaden's basically like, Mel Green's not coming. If he knows where we are, half of his riders that he's supposed to have in 3 years are here.
Yeah.
He can't afford to come
kill
here.
everybody.
Anyway, yeah, he can't afford
to be here. And then Violet jumps in and is like, yeah, and Jasinia and the scribes, we wouldn't even have Warwick's journal if they didn't help us. Yeah. And everybody looks at her like, wait, what are you talking about?
Wait, what do you have?
Xaden's like, oh yeah, as soon as you lost consciousness with Taryn, I lost track of my route and a new plan emerged. I haven't given him the journal, and like pulls out the journal.
Right.
So nobody had known this whole time. And she's like, dang it, I was hoping that Brennan would have gotten a jump start, but whatever.
Doesn't matter. Like, Brennan doesn't speak Old Lusurish.
We have the journal. And Brennan can't read it.
Xaden is also like, these writers are considered my guests.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me who I can have as guests in my home.
Again, this is all mine.
I also brought you 4 professors.
Yeah.
Considering there's 4 professors and all of you guys, I'd say you put them back in class.
Yeah.
Get it going.
Get to work.
Teach them.
Figure it out.
And right then is when Violet hears Andarna's voice for the first time in months. She's awake. Yeah. It takes about an hour for the meeting to frickin' end and her to get up there to see Andarna. Very happy to see her. She seems like she's bigger. Still kind of the black scales. Mm-hmm. And when she gets up, she sees that her left wing doesn't fully extend. And it kind of throws Andarna off. She kind of stumbles a little bit.
Yeah.
And Violet is like thinking all of these, like a mother, you know, like, oh my gosh, is this my fault because she used this and then because we moved her and all of these different things. And in that, she's like, is her wing broken? Can Brennan mend it? And Andarna turns to her. She's like, I am not broken.
Yeah.
I am not broken. And she's like, that's not what I meant. And I love how Tarn was like, she's allowed to be concerned about you
Yeah.
just like you're concerned about her.
Yeah.
Okay? Go find some sheep with Sigel, all right?
Yeah.
Eat something. Once they get a little bit farther out, Taryn tells Violet to shield out Andarna as much as he can and kind of gives her the gist of everything. That between her accelerated growth and the fact that she took so long in dreamless sleep, the elders think that it just affected her growth. They think she'll fly at some point, and the other muscles will compensate, but Violet's like, you're holding something back. What are you not saying? And he's like, what she herself has not recognized, that she will never have a rider.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way
she'll never be
have a
strong
rider.
enough.
Yeah, she might
She'll
fly.
be able to fly.
Yeah.
If she can figure it out. Yeah.
So we have a little bit of time. Violet wakes up and is like, the new best guy is kind of operating. She doesn't know how the assembly was able to get it together. They are sharing books and stuff like that, but the house is massive and everyone is housed and fed and clothed and attending classes. They're utilizing the professors. They're utilizing parts of the assembly to teach the cadets. They're also adding things, right? So they're all learning about the Turish rebellion and what actually happened so that they can actually prepare. And they have a new battle brief. There's a new map in the back showing the actual battle positions, right? Not just Griffin attacks. It's actually with dark wielders. So red is like old movement and orange is new. So they can kind of decipher and see everything. We also find out, Reed comes up, that everyone was able to write to their families and try and get them to leave. They couldn't tell them where they were, but they were just trying to convince them to like pack up and leave.
If you leave, I'll come get you.
Yeah. So Brennan announces to all of them that they have kept their wings and they'll need to nominate new, and all the ranks within there, but they need to nominate new executive officers and some need new wing leaders and new squad leaders, and to let them know like by the end of the day or something like that, which was surprising. And he's like, do you guys not think you could do it? They're like, no, we can. And it's like, okay, then do it. So old Baz guy, but with changes, right?
Yeah.
They get to nominate their own leadership, which I think is important because that's who people want to follow.
Yeah.
You're nominating into leadership.
Exactly.
So he also mentions that fourth wing in the flame section is fully intact. So Bodhi's section, every single person
He's
deserted
such a
with
good
them.
leader that everybody came.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's just full of... But they are now the iron section. So as far as they can tell, the public still doesn't know in Navarre what went on. And it's like, how do they not know? But as far as they can tell, the public doesn't know. Obviously, the present military all know because Wyvern were dropped at all the outposts and everything like that.
Of course.
And as far as they can tell, they are still turning away the Paromish citizens. And also, as far as they can tell, none of their families have been targeted, which I would have thought would have been one of the first things Melgren did.
He's got his hands full. That's so low priority. Revenge is low priority. He'll get to it.
Revenge. I don't know if it's even revenge, though. It's also just like consolidating to an extent to make sure the other side doesn't get bigger. Right? So they are reaching out with letters like offering sanctuary, right? Which we already kind of knew that they were reaching out to their family as well. They find out that there was an attack on Samara, which is where Mira still is. She can tell that Mira's fine, and it was very obvious that they were looking for weapons. The attack happened after they left Bezgaeth.
Yeah.
So they knew.
So that means during battle brief, they found out where Mira's stationed got attacked. It was looking for weapons. So in some way, the Griffins knew and had to go take weapons for themselves.
As they're kind of talking through it, she's kind of trailing off and looking at Corden, where the luminary is, right? With Takaris, Vice Count Takaris is over there. When Tarn comes in and tells her a riot is coming. So other dragons, like Brennan, you can tell is being told as well. Brennan tells them all to go to the Great Hall. So Violet's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm going out to see what's going on because Tarn tells her Tien, Mira's dragon, is at the front of the pack.
Tiny.
Tiny?
Well, Tynan is his full name, but Tiny is what they call him.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not read it that way.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, though.
So Tynan is Tiny. At the front of the pack.
Tiny scales are on her. Tiny. That's
Tiny.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So she runs out there. As soon as they land, Tarn grabs Tiny by the throat.
Yeah.
And Violet's like, whoa, can you chill a little bit?
Yeah.
And she yells up to Mira that if you dismount peacefully, Tiny lives. Mira does, and is like, we come in peace. Xaden's the one who freaking came to get me.
Yeah.
How else would I know?
Can you leadership talk to each other, please?
Yeah. How
we
else?
were invited.
How else would I even know where you were?
Yeah.
And then Xaden kind of gets in range and confirms with her that he's like back with the stragglers. But yeah. So Violet's like, did you know, to Mira? And she's like, I didn't know until Wavering were dropped at the outpost doors in front of the gate, and Mom arrived hours later
and confirmed.
Told us everything.
And I love that General Sorrengail actually like went to the outpost. There's proof. She said the truth and was like, you can go if you want.
Let them all decide.
Yeah.
Violet also confirmed that with Xaden. He's like, if this is what she said, she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Crazy. So Mira, as she's talking to Violet right away, she says, I'm so sorry. You tried to tell me in Samara.
I'll always listen. I should have listened.
I didn't listen. I brushed you off. I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. As she's talking to her, she sees Brennan behind Violet and is like, he's alive. And she walks straight up to him and jacks him in the face.
Yeah, which I would have been pissed too.
Yeah, I would have been
pissed too. Because she was
old
enough to get it.
Well,
she
was
in the writer's quadrant when he died.
Yeah, definitely. And they were close growing up. So a lot of people charge because he's a lieutenant colonel. Brennan's like, I'm fine. This is a family matter. And Mira's like, family don't let each other think they're dead for 6 years, you asshole. What I love is they went right into sibling banter and yelling at each other. It's like, oh, you're alive after 6 years, you jerk. Why would you ever do that to me? And he first goes to, do you understand? I think you broke my nose.
Yeah.
Do you understand what a pain in the ass it is to mend myself? I could mend you, no problem. But me, huge pain in the ass. Huge pain in the ass.
Now I have more work to do.
They're arguing and bickering back and forth, and Violet's like, it's right what it used to be. Where I'm in the middle, and they are arguing. Violet tells them to stop. She looks at Mira, and she's like, he was a brand lieutenant. Give him a fucking break, basically. What's done is done. And tells Brennan, put ice on your fucking face before you stain the goddamn floors. And shut up. And Xaden from behind her is like, and to think, I always wished I had siblings. And she like walks all over, all doe-eyed and lovey-dovey, and they start kissing. And then you just hear Brennan, are you serious?
Yeah, that's gross.
And Mira's just like, oh, just wait till this is tame for them. Wait till they start climbing each other.
Yeah. She hasn't straddled him and hopped on him yet, so.
Exactly.
So it is very funny sibling rivalry discussion.
Well, yeah, and Violet just kind of smiles, and she's like, I know how to raise the wards.
Yeah.
I need the blood of the 6 strongest riders. I know how to raise the wards. And Xaden, I love how Xaden's reaction is like, now or all time? Like, which one is it? Which one is it?
So we find out from Brennan through, remember, he keeps saying, like, we'll find a diplomatic way to get the luminary. We know Viscount Takaris is the one that has it. And we know that he wants to see Violet wield.
Right.
And Xaden is just like, no, end of story. Like, end of discussion. And Violet's like, it should actually be a discussion. And he's like, no, we're not doing it.
Well, and this is the first time we kind of find out a little bit more of why.
Yeah.
He's always been, would not budge, but he's like, he will keep Violet as a weapon.
He will capture her.
Yeah.
And she will be there forever. And she's like, I am a second year. I can handle myself. Well, and we know that she can't. No, she can. Violet reads the passage and it's translated, and the blood of the 6 and the 1 combined and set the stone ablaze in and iron rain. So she's saying we need the blood of the 6 riders, and then it should cause an iron flame.
And the 1.
And
so
the 1.
She thinks and the 1 is the ward stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All 6 of them, the strongest riders. So it's her, Xaden, Felix. Who else was
Ulysses. There? It's like 3 of the people from the assembly and
then
Xaden and Brennan.
Yeah. And so they all stand around, they all cut their hands, and they put it on the ward stone, and you see the blood dripping down, and nothing effing happens. No, they stand there for a while, they wait, they don't feel anything different, to the point where it was either Hook Nose or Battle Axe like put their hand down and is like, I've got more important things to do.
Yeah, this is obviously
stupid.
not working.
Go back to school, little one. We're trying to wage a war.
Yeah.
And so Violet is just like so upset and is just like beating herself up like, oh God, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
In front of the 6 strongest riders. I didn't, read this right evidently. And so she actually like mind to mind says something to Taryn and Taryn's like, okay, I'm in. And we know what it is because she like storms away and Brennan follows her. And Brennan's like, come back, Violet. And she's like, no, I just want to be alone. And because she's running over to Taryn and he's like, I know you. You are so stubborn. When you get that look in your eye, you are going to do something. So I'm going to stay with you with whatever you're about to do. And he tells a story of them growing up, which was her parents said, you have to eat this meal. And she didn't want to eat it.
Squash. It was a plate of squash.
It was a plate of squash. And so she's sitting there and for 12 hours, they sat there until she would eat squash. And he's like, I came up later that night. Mom and Dad were both asleep at the table and you were on the table sitting and eating cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
He's like, you are determined. When you make up your mind, you're determined.
Right. Violet turns to Xaden because she feels all bad and is like, take me to Takaris. And he's like, I would rather die. And she says they all will if he doesn't. And he's like, absolutely not. And so that's when she storms away with Brennan. And then she's like, okay, fine. You can be the tag along for once. And storms off and goes directly to Mira and is like, I thought it was kind of like, what's that, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon?
Good Will Hunting?
Yes, thank you. Good Will Hunting when he's like, all right, I need your help. Some people, we're going to hurt some people or something like that. Like, you can't tell anybody, I can't tell you where we're going or what we're doing and we're going to hurt some people. And it's like, whose car are we taking? She walks up to Mira and she's like, I need your help. And then that's when it pans to Violet training with Felix for a little bit.
So she's on her way to train and Felix actually really wants to focus on accuracy. And so he's like, okay, hit that thing of boulders. And Violet's like, boom. And it like hits really far away. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, that's pretty big. Okay, try again. And she like, oh, boom. And it hits closer and she's like all excited. Is like, yeah, look at, I got better. Yeah. And he's like, are you kidding me? What the fuck was that? Like, that's
he
horrible.
Literally goes, what was that shit?
Yeah. And he's like, what was your training like? And we find out, like, I mean, she says, it was bigger, the better, the more times I got up to X amount of lightning strikes before I almost burnt out. And Felix is looking at her like she's an idiot. Like, yeah. This is not, and he says, this is Car's fault, not yours.
Yeah.
But right now you are a glorified light show.
Yeah.
You don't have any accuracies. Have you tried like little lightning, like from your hands? And she's like little lightning, there's only big lightning from the sky. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, like with each tendril, like you can make your own lightning. He's like, oh God, we've got to start from the beginning. And so he actually gives her this conduit and he's like, you need to practice with it and you need to just like get lightning absorbed into this orb, like little strikes. And you're led by emotion. So when those emotional times hit, use this to help control those and to help learn how to wield in small doses.
Well, and what I thought of at this moment is how Ree was like moving things from across the room and she couldn't go through walls yet. And I didn't even think about this before with Carr. I knew it wasn't right.
Yeah.
But the fact that like she only went to big. There's no accuracy. There's no understanding of her power at all.
And she actually asks Felix, why would he do that? And he's like, he was probably scared of what you could become. Being a glorified light show is all he wanted you to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he brings up Xaden at this point too, which multiple people on both sides have brought up the two of them being way too powerful.
Yeah.
Together between the two of them.
Yes. So she needs to start small, which is good. She won't burn out again.
Right. So he gives her that orb and is like, you need to fill that thing with power over the next week. If you don't, I ain't working with you anymore because I don't waste my time on people who don't want to do this and do it all out.
Which is so different too, because Basgaiath was just like, power, power, power.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you don't have the mindset for this, I'm not wasting my time.
I'm not wasting my time. They said he had a white beard. So I pictured like a cranky Santa Claus the whole time Felix is ever in
but
anything.
like a cranky, like buff Santa Claus, like that movie.
Yeah,
where they have
red
the
one
buff
Santa Claus who's kind of cranky.
Yeah.
Agreed. Totally. All right, so then we pan to Violet, Brennan, and Mira on their way somewhere bickering.
Yep.
So Brennan and Mira are going back and forth again, and Violet finally, again, puts a stop to it, is like, knock it off. You guys got to stop fighting. We definitely can't fucking do that there, so cut the shit. And Mira goes, okay, Mom. And then they're quiet for a little bit, and she's like, too soon? And Brennan and Violet are both like, yeah, too soon. Too soon. Again, very sibling.
Yeah.
Written with siblings in mind, being siblings, right?
Yes.
So Tarn is not happy that he's taking her to Takaris.
No.
He is like, I don't really like this. Just for the record, I said it wasn't a good idea. But I said I was going to let you make your own choices, so that's what we're doing now. And he does confirm that Segal is out of range, which Xaden has been going to the borders to get citizens and families and stuff like that, and see if there's other drifts like Mira's drift and stuff
so they
like
won't
that.
Notice.
He's like Segal's out of range but calm, and she's like, you're not going to tell her, right? And he's like, nope, she's out of range. Don't worry about it. Taryn also, I thought, was funny how they come up to the fortress and it's like marble and glistening, and she's like, this is freaking gorgeous. Holy crap.
Yes.
And he's like, it's fucking ridiculous and indefensible. Like, he's just poking holes, which then when you think about it, a glowing fortress that shimmers in the sun that's made of marble
that's not
is pretty
under
ridiculous.
a ward.
Yeah, that's not under a ward.
Like, that's like a beacon of like, come find me.
Come get us right here, please. When they land, Brennan reminds them of, don't make promises we can't keep here. Because Takaris doesn't take kindly to that, and he will follow through. And remember about their mind work. Keep your shields up at all times. Flyers don't wield signets, so their lesser magic they're really good at. And most of it has to do with mind work. So keep that in mind.
Oof.
Not walking into something too easy here, right?
Uh-huh.
When they get there, I kind of saw like the gates of Oz, where the guy's like, okay, you might be our guests, you might not. You have to tell us one truth. And so he's kind of like Nora, like he can tell if they're lying or not. And so they have to go through and tell a truth. Violet says, I'm here to wield lightning because your dude told me I needed to. Brennan's like, I'm here to broker a deal for that luminary after she wields the lightning. And they're like, okay, Mira, your turn. And she's like, okay, you make one wrong move towards my sister, I'm going to gut you like a fish. How's that for a truth?
That's
and
the
the
truth.
guy, the mayor of Oz, goes, I like you. Yeah, no, that'll work. That's a good one.
You'll do well here,
You'll do well here. We like that kind of attitude and gumption. They walk in, and as the seas part of people, Xaden comes walking up and is like, you're not where I left you, Violence. And at first she's like, where you left me? What?
Excuse me?
Excuse me? It becomes very obvious very quickly that Xaden has not only been there before, but numerous befores. He knows his way around this place.
I believe Viscount Takaris actually is like, oh, and your normal room is set up for you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Takaris comes up, greets them, already knows who Xaden is, introduces the cat as his niece.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. So as they're walking to their rooms, he has Kat take them to their rooms. Xaden and Violet are fighting mind to mind about keeping her safe, basically. Yeah. And it ends with her screaming out loud, stop trying to keep me safe.
Yeah.
And he's like, what else am I supposed to do? And she's like, do you know what you sound like?
Dain.
You sound like Dain. And this is when
does.
his room, that he is already his, is across the hall. And he's like, you should come in and change in here. And she's like, fat chance, I'm in a room with my sister because I'm a little pissed at you and you sound like Dain. And she closes the door. So they're getting ready because it's like this silk dress and Mira's in like a velvet long dress. These girls
Yeah.
don't wear dresses.
No.
All right. And so I think Violet turns to the handmaid and is like, everyone's going to be dressed this way. And she's like, for dinner with Viscount Takaris?
Yes.
Everybody, every night. Yes.
Yeah.
This is what you have to
we
wear.
do here.
She's in this very fine silk dress.
Yeah.
With multiple layers because it's very fine and very see-through if you don't have multiple layers of it
And
on
it's
there.
all black.
Yes, all black. She stayed with black. Mira's also in black.
That's what a writer wears.
She does ask the handmaid if Takaris would like keep her. And he's like, he won't keep you against your will, but he will make you a proposal and tempt you to be collected.
Yeah.
And everyone ends up staying because he's good at it.
Yeah.
She's like, interesting. So they go to walk out. Kat's there, Serena's there, they're sisters. Serena and Mira's exchange is very similar to how Violet and Kat have exchanges. There is some underlying animosity between the older sisters who are both a part of Griffin, leadership and dragon leadership.
Mira's killing of Griffin riders precedes her.
Exactly. But Serena also has a history.
Yes.
They both good at what they do. Let's just say that. And now they have always been enemies and they're supposed to be friends. It doesn't happen too quickly. Kat is making these bitchy ass underhanded comments to Violet. Makes a comment about Violet wearing black and how Xaden's always talking about how there's no color at Basgiath. Okay.
Oh, of course. You would pick something that would wash you out so much.
Violet, she doesn't say it like that, but Violet goes, maybe I am washed out. So she starts like kind of doubting herself. Kat picks at her hair and is like, I guess Zara didn't know how to do your hair. She talks about you can't pick a fight with Xaden because he'll think it's foolish. She's like very much doing the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
But we're friends now, but you're not really friends. She's making it very obvious to the girlfriend that they're not just friends.
It's basically, I've been there before.
More. Yeah. I know more about him than you do.
Which, frankly, she probably does because she grew up with him.
She might, but it is really getting to Violet.
Oh, yeah.
She feels her power surging up into her. She's getting really pissed, really jealous. Tarn's like telling her in her mind, keep your shit together.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of talks her through that power surge. Serena even turns to Kat and is like, give it a fucking rest, okay? Yeah. You're a year older than her, and it's been over a year since the two of you were together.
Yeah, get over it.
Drop it. As soon as Violet sees Xaden in the banquet hall, she gets pretty centered. The mad kind of drifts away. She's like, okay, there he is. He walks up directly to her and starts kissing her in front of everyone.
Gotcha, Kat.
And a good kiss. Violet realizes that he like cocooned them in shadows. And she's like, what have you done? And he's like, I should have done this when I first saw you. Maybe Kat would stop messing with your head. And she's like, wait,
what do you mean?
What was happening? And he's like, yeah, she's pretty good at it. She can inflame emotions. And I would have told you, but you've had me blocked all afternoon.
Yeah. So put your shields down.
I will say that Violet was like, I was able to block out Xaden. I'm getting good at this. Oh my God.
She is getting very good.
She does tell him, FYI, thank you for the kiss. And that was awesome. But we haven't even started fighting yet. We're going to resume this later.
Yes.
FYI. And he's like, okay, I'll make myself available. He does tell her, I should have listened to you.
Yeah.
I know I was being overprotective.
Yeah.
And so when he's like, see, I said sorry. Are you sorry, though, that you should have kind of talked to me? We had a plan to come here. And she's like, no, because we need the luminary.
Yeah. So you made your bed.
Like, no, I'm not
lie
sorry.
in it.
I appreciate you saying sorry, but I'm actually not sorry for my actions. I'm right.
Yeah.
Which I like laughed audibly because I think I've legit said that in an argument before. I'm like, no, I'm not sorry. I'm right.
See, I always say I'm sorry for the 2% that I could have done better, but you take all 98% of the rest.
That works.
I don't say it like that, but that's what I do.
You're so mature. Xaden responds with figured.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. Okay.
Yep. So Takaris is like, so let me see this wielding and then we can go on to negotiations. Come follow me. And there's this huge arena. You can tell that he does these games a lot because there's like stadium seating around and stuff in this arena.
It seemed like a really cool arena. It was like stadium, like dug into carved out of the side of the hill.
Yeah.
Like the natural ravine. And like he brags about it. Was kind of like if you go to someone's like rich house and they're like, this is Italian marble shipped in from the blah 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 valley. Like that's what he starts to say. He's like, it's surrounded by stones from the barrens.
Should we start doing that with our houses where it's like,
but just make shit up. Like point to an IKEA table and be like, this came from our Greek ancestors.
No, like you lean into what it is.
Yeah.
This is a modern day computer table. I got it from Amazon and it was...
No, I think you have to
the
lie.
design was originated in 1920 with the something like that.
No. Some say it has magical powers, but we don't know.
I mean, there is theory that Jesus himself blessed these plans. It
came over on a cargo ship from China.
One of the original cargo ships.
In customs for a full month.
In 2014.
That's what I heard, though. When Takaris was like,
just rich dude things.
This has come from the Barrens, which, like, the Barrens are where the Venin are. You know, they originated from. And we shipped it in on camelback.
So, question. Do you have any rich people friends that do that? Or is this all stuff we glean from social media and stuff like that?
Social media. Well,
yeah.
I mean, there's family that you can't weed out.
Can we endeavor just to go someday somewhere on a rich person's house tour?
Okay, how are we going to make that happen?
In the future, this is bucket list.
Like, you seem pretentious as fuck. Can I get a tour of your home?
No. No, it's not like that.
I only know one person who gives tours of their home like that.
So you know somebody.
Yeah, but she's fake rich.
Okay, that's fine.
And
we
she
can
lives
do
in
fake
Tennessee.
rich. Okay, so can you get us invited to your friend's house? That's a bucket list item.
So
I want to be in a house.
You originally asked me, do I know anybody who would do this? And I about said, I have weeded those people out of my life well before I would be invited to their home.
Fair.
I give a vibe.
No, it was more I wanted to see how beautiful a rich person's house is, but I guess you can just go on a house tour.
You could.
So let's just do it with a realtor. Let's pick a very rich person house. So that, because the realtor will do this is Carrara marble.
All right, you need to focus. You need to focus.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Takaris is showing them the arena. And in the middle of the arena is this chest. And he's like, okay, you wield your power, hit that chest.
Shit.
And she's like, my accuracy is horrible.
Shit.
And they talk to Felix. And he's like, and then we'll start negotiations.
Well, and Felix is the one in our last training session that was like, luckily Takaris just wants to see you wield. You don't have to aim.
Yeah.
Well,
he wants you to aim.
Damn.
And he's like, and some rules. You cannot leave that arena until the lightning has hit it. Mm-hmm. And Xaden cannot come in to the arena.
Yeah.
He is stuck here sitting next to me. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's walking down and Mira's like, well, I'm coming. And so Mira's right behind her. And she's thinking to herself, oh, this might be a while. My accuracy is just horrible.
Well, she tells Mira, I can't aim.
Yeah. This isn't going to go well. Shit. And mind to mind with Xaden. Xaden's confirming this is probably a FU to me. Because this chest was actually a gift from my father.
Takaris is like, this would look familiar to you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And so this chest is Xaden says it's priceless, right? It cannot be replaced. So this is an FU for whatever deal they broke. Right.
Which, and Violet, because Xaden wasn't happy that he didn't get to walk her down. Yeah. Violet's like, if he wants me to blow up your dad's fucking chest, I'll blow up your dad's fucking chest.
That's fine.
That's fine.
We're good here. It's just a chest. And so she gets down to the arena and Mira's standing right next to her and she's like, okay, let me get started. And all of a sudden the people pull some strings. The chest opens and a venom pops out.
Right.
And so she's like, oh, shit. And so she's like, okay, this was a trick. Xaden is pissed. Yeah. You can feel the energy in the room shift in shadows.
Yeah. He lunges and she's like, bitch, stay there.
Nope. We need the luminary let me do my thing.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, by the way, Mira, this is a venom.
Yeah.
This is what they look like in real life.
Before they even interact, do you remember what the Dark Wielder said to her?
You're the one he wants.
Yes. You're the one who commands the sky.
Oh, boy.
Like, just like the other Venom.
Yeah.
They know who she is.
Yes.
And she is wanted and sought after.
Which is crazy.
It really is.
But anyway, so they're like, okay, they're back to back trying.
With me?
Yeah. Why are you so
obsessed with me?
Xaden just says like behind you and looks behind. There's 2 daggers in the sand for Mira and her that would actually kill the venom.
Yeah.
And then they look on the other side and Brennan is in there with them.
Yeah.
Then the venom actually like kneels down on the ground and she's like, shit, he's going to do his thing where he pulls the energy from the ground and pretty much anything touching the ground is dead.
Done.
Brennan actually yells shield and Mira's like, I can't.
We didn't talk about this, but Mira said that she's too far from the wards.
Yeah.
She can't shield anyway. So when she went to walk her down here, she's like, you don't have to worry about me. My signet doesn't even work out here anyway.
Yeah.
So she's never shielded this far
outside
from
of the wards.
Yeah.
Yes.
This far away.
And created her own. And Brennan's like, you have to.
We're going to die if you don't do it.
And so Mira actually does it as they go, as the death comes. And when she finally lets go out of it.
Yeah, she passes out.
She passes out and the entire arena is dead except for the small plot of land that all 3 of them are standing on.
So she did it.
She used it, her signet outside of the wards.
Yeah.
But it almost burned her out.
Yeah.
So Brennan grabs her. Violet, of course, is like just trying to calculate the whole time. And she's like, I have 0 accuracy. What other solutions are there?
And then she remembers the tour that Takaris gave.
Oh.
This is surrounded by stone from the barons or whatever. She literally starts to remember.
Yeah.
The Italian marble will save us.
Exactly. And so she looks around and she doesn't have to strike the venom. She just has to be smart about it. And she like communicates with Taryn and Taryn's like, I'm on my way. Yeah. I'll be there. And she's like, okay. And she's like, Brennan, get her off the field. And
I think even doesn't Xaden come in her head and like, what are you doing? She's like, I need to concentrate. Get out of here.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so she throws her daggers and pins the venom down to the ground and releases all of her power as Taryn grabs her shoulders and water covers the whole arena and electrocutes the venom.
Right.
So she luckily killed the venom. Everybody survived.
What was really funny about that, again, Taryn's always like grumpy, where she's like, this timing's got to be perfect. He's like, I swear to God, who do you think I am?
I've been around for 100 years, little girl.
I'm the best there ever was. All right.
Quit doubting me.
But it was pretty. I very much picture this. Like, I'm very excited to see this play out in the show.
Yeah.
Right, because it's like timed perfectly and bright, and everything.
Well, but.
And not to mention, her and Mira were both in dresses, by the way. She was in silk.
Yeah, and she's like, this is why they made us get dressed up.
Interesting.
From now on, I am never wearing a dress, no matter the situation.
Her hair is also down.
Yes.
Kat made a comment about that, too. A lot of odds stacked against them there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember how the water, like, how did she do the water?
It was raining.
Oh, it was raining.
It was raining when they got there. It was storming and raining, and that was, like, part of it. So then it was like, wait, the rocks from the barrens, the ground is full of water. Use it.
Yes.
Right? So she doesn't have to be accurate necessarily. Yeah. She just has to use it. Okay, so she gets out, meets Brennan and Mira. They're safe and just sees Xaden with his shadows around Takaris' throat.
Yeah, of course. How did Takaris not think he was going to die, no matter what?
I thought you knew Xaden. You think this is going to go over well?
He has a room here. You know him.
Also, Seagull, Tiny, and Marba are all perched ready to incinerate the entire crowd. I mean, the dragons are pissed too.
Yeah, not a cool trick.
Ugh. And then Kat's over in the corner like, please stop, don't kill my uncle. And Xaden's gripping tighter until Violet's like, loosen your grip, he can't answer questions if he's dead. Okay?
It's okay, hon.
And Xaden kind of just looks at her, but does. So Violet drills Takaris. The stone is quarried from the barons, which means you have more venom. Yes, I do. And the chest suspends things in air. So it wasn't able to drain the ground because it was suspended in the chest until it opened. True. Xaden releases them. It was very clear with Takaris. If you have a problem with what I have done, you address me from now on. Don't you fucking use her for this. He also says, if you even look at Violet the wrong way again, I will kill you and have Serena take over. Okay?
Yep.
And apologize.
Yeah.
And Violet's like, he doesn't need to. Takaris right away is like, I apologize. I'm absolutely
so sorry.
I am so sorry. We will give you everything we have on Venin. So they get to start negotiating. He hands over all of this text that he has to Brennan about Venin. And they're like, and the Luminary. And he's like, no. I said we would start discussions.
Yes.
Once I saw her wield.
This was basically, what do you pay a bouncer at the beginning?
A cover.
Yeah, this is your cover charge. We're gonna actually go to the club.
Now we get to go to the club.
Next, you gotta pay for a private booth.
Violet feels her anger rising very quickly, looks over at Kat and is like, if you don't stop messing with my head, I'm gonna start wielding inside. You just saw what I could do outside. Knock the shit off. I loved that. I loved that she could tell.
But then in her head, she's like, but I can't really wield inside unless there's a window nearby.
She can obliterate some shit. Yeah. She don't care. Takaris, for the Luminary, he wants weapons for all of their drifts, them to be fully supplied, and he wants 100 of the flyer cadets basically to be given shelter at Orisha and be trained.
Yep.
They're like, Griffins can't even acclimate to the weather, and he's like, they've never been given a chance to.
Yeah.
We don't even really know if they can. And the best place for them to be is with riders to understand that. They're like, there's no way to get them there. Xaden's like, that's technically not true. Yeah. There is a way, but I can't guarantee you guys will survive. And Serena's like, we'll take the chance. It's the only thing that we have for us and our people.
Yeah.
So we get there. They're looking up. Brennan's giving a nice little speech to all of them about what's happening. Some of the dragons have already taken the Luminary to the area above Orisha where the new forge is going to be. And now they're taking the flyers and the griffins on this narrow mountain range. Violet was kind of saying that you couldn't even see it. It's so well hidden.
Yeah.
But Brennan tells them all it is very narrow. They have to take the griffins, which are lion eagles, and all the riders up this narrow path. It's going to get harder as they go up, and it's booby trapped.
Yeah.
So they have to take them. They have the dragons that are kind of patrolling the area.
Yeah. And so this is going to be the Griffins' version of the parapet.
Pretty much. And they pair each squad up with a drift.
Yeah.
So that they're kind of intertwined within each other.
Yeah. And Lucky Iron Squad is paired with Cat's Drift.
Yeah. It's becoming very obvious that Cat's Drift is the strongest of the Griffin cadets. So they're continuously paired with Violet's squad.
And so within the drift, each cadet is paired with a rider. Violet is actually paired with Marin. And Marin just happens to be Kat's best friend. Actually is pretty cool, as we get to know her.
Instantly liked Marin.
Oh, yeah.
Even her reactions to a little bit of hostility.
Yep.
Very cool. Would actually fit into the core 4 very, very well. Instantly loved her.
Yes.
And her Griffin.
Yeah.
Who didn't even really talk.
Well, and I love that she has a mind of her own. She's not just doing whatever Kat does. She even talks back and is like, that was a year ago, Kat.
Yeah, but not only that, same with them too. Yeah. It's not like she's trying to win their affections necessarily either. She's just very authentic.
Yes.
I like her.
Another interesting, or I guess surprising friendship that is building. Remember, Sloane hates Violet, right? Sloane actually defends Violet and Ree with the writers. So Sloane is kind of turning the corner with how she feels about Violet. And Violet says, well, at least it's not just me you hate. Sloane actually tells her she doesn't hate her.
Yeah.
It's hard to hate her when Liam didn't. And so she's really starting to get to the point in Liam's letters where he's getting to know and is talking about his friend Violet.
Well, yeah, Sloane looks at Violet and is like, I'm to the October letters. And she's like, oh, when Xaden made him be my bodyguard.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, and I understand, but I just wish he would have picked anybody else. And Violet's like, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Agreed.
And I loved that solidarity.
Yeah.
It's when it comes down to it, Liam was where he wanted to be, and he was the best choice. I just wish it wouldn't have had been him.
Yeah. So Marin actually during this trek also tells them about their version of threshing.
Okay, you tell it first and then let's talk about it.
So this version of threshing is they actually just climb up to this ridge, this cliff, and the griffins are flying by, and it like underneath them is water, right? And you jump off, and if you land on a griffin, then that's your griffin, and you bond. And they're like, oh, and if you don't, you die. And they're like, no.
Like, do the bodies wash up on shore?
Yeah, for like weeks. And they're like, no, you swim over and you just pick a different thing to do with your life.
Yeah, you go into the infiltrate.
And they talk about how like barbaric and silly it is that, you know, you guys die at school. And why would you do that?
To be completely obviously, a griffin is not as like deadly as a dragon.
Yeah.
But they continually talk about how big the griffins are and how that beak could chop their head off. Like they're not nice creatures. It's not like it's not like they're jumping on a Care Bear.
It's not a horse.
No. Horses are actually very deadly. They're one of the top 4 deadliest animals.
It's a moose, okay?
It's a moose.
Moose is the deadliest.
It is, for sure.
Or actually is hippo.
I found it it's nice to start to meet some of the flyers, the Griffin flyers, on a more personal level and seeing the differences between them.
Yes. At one point in time during this trek, like she feels something in like an energy pulse or something.
They all do.
Yes.
Marin says something too.
Yeah. And Taryn actually, Mind to Mind, says the first hatchling of Erasia has hatched.
Yeah.
So this is just a surge of energy within Erasia.
Which changes the magic now.
Yeah.
So Taryn's not happy.
No.
It's not like he's like, a baby was born. He's like, the first hatchling is hatched.
No. Well, and if you think about it from a battle strategy, which again, after all these fantasy novels, I think I'm an expert.
Obviously.
But that's like almost like an energy beacon outside of a ward saying, we're over here.
Right.
Come here.
Tarn clarifies within a 4-hour ride.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how many miles or kilometers that would be, but it seems like a pretty large distance.
Yeah. That's a heck of a target.
Every creature knows.
Yes.
Within a 4-hour ride from here.
So, not great news, but yay, there's a baby dragon.
Yeah.
Which also, when everybody came, why didn't you think of that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he did say the hatchling decided to hatch. So that I found interesting that the hatchlings decide. It's not like when they're supposed to, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, that means that's alluding again to more Empyrean business that we don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe we're just not privy to.
Ooh, what if it's like a book series and then they do another one from the dragon perspective?
Ooh.
So maybe you said this is 5 books or 3 books?
I don't really love the reread of same events.
No, I'm not saying POV. Same ones, but maybe it's like
I thought I heard this was
great grandpa, or when the original fight happened, but from the dragon's point of view.
Like a novella of this fight from Tarn and Seagal or something like that. I had heard, and I don't know if this is official, but I thought this was supposed to be a 5-book series.
Okay, but if like we get some dragons in here. I mean,
they're already here.
No, but like if maybe 5 books is this human world thing.
I would love an insight into some of the Empyrean meetings.
Yes.
And the elders. They talk about the elders. Who are the elders?
Humans and Imperium rule together.
Well, have you also noticed that they don't talk about who the elders are? Is Coda an elder?
Coda is the elder.
But they don't say that.
No, each den. Well, you can be an elder but not be part of like the Imperium. And so each den has a different leader. So like the biggest, baddest, we don't know if it's the legitimately oldest or just the most powerful, but that den elder is the leader of that clan.
Or the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of dragon business going on that we don't know about. So they're climbing higher and higher. Originally, when they were kind of talking to Marine, it was, well, if we fall off, it's fine. We'll just go down to the bottom and start the trek again. As they're getting higher, that's not going to be able to happen. The griffins are starting to suffer from hypoxia. The flyers are not used to the altitude at all. It is getting difficult, to say the least. At this point, I think, is when Violet reaches out to Tarn and is like, are we close at all? How much is left? And he's like, the first group is kind of breaching the top. So Violet's like, I think we got about an hour. Like, it's about an hour from now.
Yeah.
And then they start to kind of hear a little bit of the exchange ahead with Vissa and Lula. Lula is one of Luella with Vissa and Luella. Luella is one of the flyers that's friends with Kat and Marine. And Vissa is one of the first years that's friends with Sloane.
Yeah.
Vissa, not too happy.
No.
And Marine's like, oh, Lula's the nicest of all of us. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, her family died in a Griffin attack last year. So I don't know if it matters.
Yeah.
I think she's always going to hate all of you guys.
Yeah.
And I loved how Marine was like, I mean, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But Luella makes really good cake. So she's totally going to win her over.
So they get to this part of the trail and Dain is standing there and he's like, okay, there's a trap over here and this is a really long jump. Everybody's made it so far.
Well, in the trap, they know if you step in this area, arrows are going to shoot, but they don't know where the arrows are coming from. So they've just marked the length with a rope and everyone's just been jumping over it. And they're just making sure when you jump forward, you don't run into anybody and push them off the cliff, that everyone's steady and good to go.
Yeah. So.
Booby trap. I thought of Goonies.
Yeah.
It's a booty trap. That's what I said.
So people are like backing up. They're jumping over this long distance.
It's far. It's 5 to 6 feet. It's far.
Immediately Violet's like, I can't make that. I need to come up with a different plan. And she's like, Luella can't make that either.
Well, they first talk about Luella. And Violet's like, okay, I'm the smallest. Luella's really tiny. She's smaller than Violet. And Violet's like, there's no way I could have done this if, like, I felt as bad as they do with the altitude sickness, but, like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I wish Xaden was here. He could just, like, push her over with
he's like, I wonder if Riddick can just pick her up and throw her over.
And he's like, you mean, could I throw you? And she's like, you're not fucking throwing me.
Yeah, I can do it.
Luella was, like, kind of looked at her, and she's like, no, I'm used to the altitude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No offense to you, but
you're tinier and weaker, so, but
I can't breathe right now.
Riddick goes across. And then Violet's like looking and trying to figure it out because she thinks, like you said, she's going to have a little bit of trouble. And then kind of, it's like, what are you doing? Dain was like, I still know how you think. What are you thinking up there? What are you concocting? And she's like, I'm trying to see how close Riddick is to his sword.
Yeah.
And Riddick kind of was like, he saw the little like dash. He's like, I can do that. And I'm liking Dain more and more. As Riddick goes to start to climb, Dain's like, no. Here, take this shorter sword.
Yeah.
My handle is longer.
Yeah.
And he looked at Violet. He's like, I know how your mind works.
Yeah.
I still know.
Remember, until 6 months ago, I was your best friend.
Right. So Riddick's the best climber. So he kind of.
And then your first boyfriend came around and you stopped talking to me. When you put it that way. So Violet runs, jumps, would not have made it across, reaches out, grabs a handle, uses that as leverage to loop over and jump.
To the other side of the rope.
To the other side.
She's
now
clear.
It's Luella's turn. She runs, jumps, she makes it. She can't jump from the handle to the edge. And Violet's like trying to coach her through it. She does it. She like barely makes it, like pushes Violet a little bit.
Well, she lands 1 foot before the end of the rope.
Yeah.
And kind of looks at Violet and hurries up and goes like, that's going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when she gets pushed, she actually accidentally backs into Visia, who is behind her. And so she's got one arm Luella, one arm Vesia, and her shoulder pops out of place.
Over the cliff. They stumble to where the two of them slide over the cliff. She feels someone grab her pants.
Yeah.
Which is Riddick.
Yeah. And so
can you imagine holding someone over a cliff?
Yes.
And your shoulder is dislocated?
How painful.
That's pain.
Within that, Luella passes. She doesn't make it. Vesia does.
Well, and who actually saves Vesia? Chib, the Griffin.
The Griffin saves
Luella's Vesia. Griffin grabs Vesia because she's closer, going for his flyer.
Yes.
And then Dain's there. Dain and Chib both reach for her right as she slips through Violet's fingers.
Oh.
Violet is so hurt. Like, Dain has to pull her up, and she's like, my shoulder's out.
Yeah.
she turns around in that.
The trap was hit.
The trap was hit. And
Riddick has 2 arrows in his belly.
Right. And Luella just fell to her death. You hear the Griffins all cry. Violet is just screaming for Brennan because the mend is the only thing that is going to save Riddick at this point.
Yeah.
And she was screaming as she's holding the 2 over the cliff. Like she saw Riddick. Right as all that happens, Kat right away is like, "You dropped her.
You picked a rider. You'll always pick a rider over us. You always pick the rider.
I'll kill you for this." And Marion's like, "That's not what happened. Luella almost got everybody killed.
Yeah.
She almost got Violet and another rider killed, and the Griffin. In all honesty, Dain, Kat doesn't care. She's not even hearing Marion. She keeps coming for it.
Yeah.
And Dain goes, "You take one more step towards Violet, I'm throwing you off the fucking cliff."
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's Dain. That's the Dain.
Meanwhile, Luella's Griffin is dying.
Yeah.
So we find out that Griffins, if they bond, they die with their rider.
Very big difference.
Yes.
From the dragons. And Marion's like, Chib only has a little bit of time left. And so Kat kind of goes over there, and that's when Violet looks at Dain and is like, "You're going to have to put it back in socket." He's like, "You can't wait for Brennan."
Just wait
She's
for
like,
Brennan.
"When Brennan gets here, he's going to waste his time on me, and Riddick's dying.
Yeah.
Do it now." And he's like I did when you were 14 and 17.
Yeah.
And he does it. He pulls it up, and I did find it interesting that she was like, "Thank you," and he's like, "Don't you ever thank me for that." Like, as a friend, it would be hard to put your friend through that much pain.
Yeah. Well, and also I'll note this is the first time that she's let him touch her since they got in their fight.
Yeah. I think she, from the interrogation room, saw it. Like they have space to go.
Yes.
They have a lot of healing to do, but she trusts them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marin and Kat and everybody is over by Sib, who they
I call him Chib.
No.
Sib. Sorry.
And mourning him dying. And all of a sudden, out of the clouds, a big set of jaws grab him and pull away. And it's Wyvern. So we know that there are Wyvern right now, but we can't see them. It's too cloudy. They're on the side of a cliff.
Right.
Riddick is dying, right? Brennan is flying in, and she's like, Tarn, they're here. And the dragons cannot see them. So they are using their bonds and everything to get information over to one of the people who have a signet that is moving clouds, right? I think it's wind wielding.
But no one is powerful enough like her mom to move a storm.
No.
This is a third year, right?
Yes. And so she's just trying, we need visibility. And they're just trying to grab everyone and have them go up. You need to go faster.
So she's sitting there, and Brennan is telling her he can't move Riddick.
Yeah.
Everyone else needs to get up the mountain. He can't move Riddick, though. He's got to mend him right there.
Yeah.
So Dain and Sawyer end up going up the mountain, and she goes. Tarn comes and kind of puts his leg out for her to run and jump. They have a plan, and Brennan is like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm the best shot you got, and you know that." And Dain was trying to convince her not to do it, and he's like, "Would Xaden let you go off into battle by yourself? We don't know. They don't even know if there's a rider out there or if it's just riderless Wyvern." And she's like, "Yes, and that's why I love him." And then goes running up and runs up his scales. As she's going, Brennan tells her to use the clouds.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about how there's nobody powerful enough to really move them out of the way necessarily. Move the storm out of the way. So he's like, use it.
Yeah.
So that's what gets her thinking.
So that gets her thinking. And so she's like, okay, I need to get above all of this. And so she flies.
She changes it because Sienna, she's like, just tell Sienna to push the clouds away from the trail. Yes. That's your focus, not the whole storm. Just push it away from the trail.
Away from the trail.
Yeah.
And so she flies up to the top of the clouds. It is storming. There's condensation and everything like that. And she takes all of her power and shoots them into the clouds. And she sees 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sparks.
Yeah.
Turns out there were 4 Wyvern, no venom.
And before that, Tarn was like, I know there's 2, but we can't tell if there's any more.
And there were 4.
There were 4.
So she just killed 4 Wyvern.
It's like, how did you know that would work? And she's like, Felix said something about energy fields, and I thought it was worth a try, and Tarn agreed, so we just like went for it.
Yeah, we just tried it out. That was actually an experiment, and it was successful. First try.
Right. And I think it was Riddick was like, geez, like, wouldn't it be, I'm glad you got him, because wouldn't it be crazy if they knew we were like working together and marching here? And that's when Violet realizes that Tarn said any creature within a 4-hour flight, which means those Waveren knew, which means their rider knows. Yeah. Which means the Venom knows.
So we know that Griffins and dragons are now working together. Yeah. The enemy knows. The enemy knows. Yeah. The enemy also knows how she just killed them and is probably not going to make that mistake again.
Right. They're coming for us.
Riddick is almost dying.
He's good now, though. Once they landed, Riddick was like walking away with Ree. Because remember, Brennan was like, "What? You didn't think I was going to save your friend?
Yeah.
Come on.
I can handle it,
I'm a mender.
I'm one of the top 6 powerful people. Do you not remember?
Remember when you fucked up?
That's embarrassing.
Crazy pre-battle. It's not even like a real battle. But that's why they were using riderless Waveren.
Yeah. And they need to figure out very quickly how to do the wards.
They do. So that's the end of where we're at for right now. Ending question for this session. We've talked a little bit about it throughout, but Dain.
To me, he's just an immature child that you get the ick.
Yeah. I'm actually really proud of him right now, though.
Yes. Like, he's redeeming himself.
He's supposed to... He is low man on the totem pole right now, right? He is supposed to be
in the doghouse
in penance right now, but I think he is taking it well and still, like, being who he should be, right?
I mean, he just found out.
Yeah.
So we'll give him grace. But he's still just a child.
He is. I'm also very excited for this Griffin and Dragon relationship to unfold.
Yes, because they don't like each other.
No, I mean, for hundreds of years, generations.
Yes.
They've been the enemy, which is crazy.
But generations of Griffin, not generations of Dragon.
Yeah, no, they have been. Because they've been the
because Dragon
outside of the wards.
Yeah.
Remember, this all started because there's 3 brothers.
Yes.
One was a dragon rider, one was a griffin rider, and one was in the Barrens.
Yes.
Stealing magic from the ground. That was the fable.
Okay.
We already talked about Dain. We need a better ending question.
So we are in a very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
We have a lot of untrained riders that we are trying to feed and house.
And educate about what's really going on.
Exactly.
Whilst they're still learning about their own real shit. Yeah.
We have no weapons.
Well.
But we have a way to make weapons now.
All the flyers had to bring a crossbow.
Yes.
So we have those.
Okay.
And we now have a luminary.
Yes. So we can
But
make
we have
a
to
forge.
Supply Takaris first.
Yes.
So it's going to be a minute.
Yeah. So we need to hurry up our supply chain.
I like how we're saying we, like we're part of this.
We're here, Nicole. We are sitting alongside them.
I am fighting with you from my lazy boy chair with my blankie.
Not only do the Venom and Wyvern know where we are.
Right.
They know who we're working with.
And we have a hatched dragon with a new hatching ground that is not within wards.
Ooh. So this is not good.
Ooh.
Yeah, so all these people that came to the revolution.
Honestly, Hooknose and Battle Axe kind of have a point.
Yeah, you should.
You kind of fucked it all up. No.
But
it had to happen.
It had to happen.
Yeah.
So
but there's some pressure.
Yeah.
I have anxiety. My palms are sweaty. Knees weak, mom spaghetti. Right now, just talking about it. I'm serious. My palms are sweaty. And I even know what's going to happen.
I know you do. Okay. So, what was your biggest aha this section?
Ooh. Mom. General Mom.
General Mom.
General Mom. Because we hear a lot about her. We put a lot of inferences on her and conclusions.
Yeah.
And then, again, I think because I'm a mom and you're a mom, you kind of are reading between the lines of what she's saying a little bit.
Yeah.
That paired with the dragons and what we know, I think we know, we maybe know half of it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, because I don't know where General Mom's loyalties really lie or what really happened with her dad, with everything. And it's making me question everything that they think from Violet's and Mira and Brendan's point of view. It's also making me question Brennan.
Yeah.
And how extremely pissed he is, but then seeing how Mom's...
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. There's something fishy. We talked a little bit about Brennan.
Well, he feels like she sent him to his death.
He does, but like...
That could mean anything.
She saved Violet. Things are making sense. So again, it might be alluding that Brennan knows a lot more than he is letting on. Yeah. We already know Xaden probably knows a little more than he's letting on. But seeing that and then paired with the stuff with the dragons that we don't know, I'm like, ooh, this is going to get even better. We're going to look back on this book and be like, oh, that was just setting a scene. Yeah. That wasn't even anything. That book was like, blah. When right now I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What's going on? So yeah, General Mom. When I'm going to continue to call her General Mom.
I mean, I think that makes sense.
I don't think we know her first name.
Well, no, we do. It's Lilith.
Lilith, you're right.
But so Lilith is the goddess of the, she is. So that's why I always thought that was just kind of like a literary Easter egg that she's evil. So that's why it shocked me even more because I was like,
but
why
was
would
she really evil? Wasn't she, wasn't Lilith...
Lilith was the mother of demons or something.
Huh. Okay, never mind.
She rules the underworld.
Interesting.
I don't know.
To say the least. I'm interested. That was my biggest aha moment, though.
Yeah.
General Mom.
But she stayed.
Yeah.
She didn't go with them.
She didn't go with them, but she is a general. And we do know she went to the outposts and told them the truth.
Yeah.
So what else is going on that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Right? We're only getting one point of view.
Yeah.
So I did find that to be like another...
Well, and also, what is her life going to be? Right? Her 3 children, very powerful children, are on the other side of this war.
She doesn't know yet, though. 2.
Oh, yeah. She only thinks there's 2.
She thinks the girls. And... it's starting to make sense that what she's saying isn't bullshit. She's also a general. She's a little stoic and stone-like. She's explaining to Violet as much as Violet needs to know.
Yeah.
Listen, when you have kids, we'll fucking talk about this. But until then, you have no idea. And the fact that she flew out to Samara, told Mira, let Mira go, is proving that her real concern is that her children are safe.
Yeah.
Basgiath is not safe anymore. You're safer in the revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're together.
Yes. So I want, yeah. I feel bad for Mom right now. I think a lot's going on.
Yeah. She's probably getting hell.
Isn't that how it is with all of us, Mom? What about you? Is yours the same or?
I would say another one, because I agree that one's a big one. Another one is probably Dain.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I really felt like he could have had something to do with sending her away.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I thought he was a baby, a jealous baby. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially like during the interrogation, the way he came in and was like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And the way like he like held the knife and was like, I don't know. I just, out of all that, the first sentence he said was, so you did sell weaponry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that was like I guess it was less of a revelation, more of like a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I kind of read right away that he was grabbing onto something that would pull Varish in.
Yeah.
Right? But that would make it seem...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubted him. I'm not going to lie. I doubted him. So that was a sigh of relief. Like,
weak,
okay.
And weak people can be molded.
Exactly.
And I think he's showing us he's not as weak as
and it confirmed you're just immature.
Yeah.
You're just...
Well, and when shown the truth, which he saw in Violet's memories, he will make the right choice. And when he was holding that up, he said, you should have trusted me.
Yeah.
Now it's never going to go back, right? Like, but like, I'm going to make the right choice.
Yeah. But do
And
you
he did.
think in his head, he was thinking, now you won't fall in love with me? If you would have,
No.
if you would have just let me in, then you would have eventually fallen in love with me.
I think he got that to the extent, like when he said goodbye to her,
Yeah.
I'll miss you, Violet. I do think he was resonating with, like, she chose him.
Yeah.
It's not me.
It's him.
Yeah. Get you some better scars, dude. No.
Yeah. I mean, just
Get you some darker
she's
sweet
not your
chocolate skin.
person. get a little bit more mature, and then you can attract somebody, but not probably
Violet.
not her.
Not Violet. It's not happening. She got the ick. All right. Well, thank you guys. Follow wherever you listen to podcasts. Comment, like, I don't know. We don't know if any of that actually happens, but thank you for talking hightails with your favorite Lit Sisters.
Goodbye.
Bye.